Hey crafters, this is Nye here. Today we are going to get started with creating our 3D wagon with fall pumpkins design. As you can see, I have all of my pieces here. They're cut out. They're not really lined up or in any particular order. There were a lot of pieces to this one, and it's going to take us a little bit of time to put it together. So we're going to get started right away. Before I started the video, I went ahead and I glued my part of my wheel pieces together already. I left this one here for us to do together, and I'll be using my art glitter glue for most of my gluing. I also have my hot glue gun on, and that's going to be used as well when we go to do the pumpkins. But for all of my paper parts, or most of my paper parts, I should say, I will be using the art glitter glue. So I went ahead and I glued the 3 of the wheels first, so that way I didn't have to spend as much time gluing them in the video because it's going to take us some time. I left this one so we can glue together. I'm going to take this white part here of the wheel. I'm just going to put this one there, and then I'm going to start gluing. Okay, so I have the red back piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add glue all around here. Now, when you go to add the glue at the spokes, what you want to do is be really careful not to glue in the center here, because a part of the red is going to come through. So I'm only going to add glue here right along the spokes of the wheel. And then I'm going to take the black part of the wheel and just kind of line it up right here and then press it down. Now, you can see mine's a little off. Remember, when you're gluing, you have about 5 seconds to get everything just in that right spot. And all I'm doing to get it in the spot is I'm just taking my fingers and just pinching right along the spokes to just move the paper into the right spot. And that did it for me there. Okay. Now, with the white part here, what you can do is you can pick it up with your tweezers and add a little bit of glue to the back here. Or you could add it directly to the black, that's your choice. And then just place it down right where the edge of that circle is, okay? So you can see I have a little bit of glue seeping through. That's okay, because if you're using the art glitter glue like I am, it's gonna dry clear, so no big deal. Okay, so that's the easy part for the wheel, and then you can do all 4 of yours just to get them done. Okay, so I'm going to push some of these things out of the way, and as I use them, I'll bring them back into focus just because I want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm working on. Okay, so now let's actually work on the wagon part. I went ahead and I cut the box part of the wagon in red. You could use whatever color you want. I'm gonna use my bone folder here, and I'm gonna fold along my score lines, and then just use my bone folder to get it nice, sharp, and crisp along the score line here. So I'm just folding along all of my score lines, making sure that everything is crisp there, because this part you really want to make sure that everything is crisp, only because you don't want there to be any bend to the paper when you go to create the wagon base there. All right, so I'm just going to do this side, and then I have the other side to do, and then we'll be ready to glue it down. So again, I'm just using my bone folder here just to make sure that those edges are crisp and you can see it. It looks great. And I will use my glue now and just glue it down. So I'm going to add the glue to both sides here. Then I'm just going to press it and then use my fingers to make sure that I'm creating that 90-degree angle, and then using my fingers to seal it. And so this was a fun craft for me. When my kids were small, we would go to the library for like toddler time or whatever, where they would read. And part of the toddler time that they had, they would sing this little song about bouncing up and down in a little red wagon. And it was just very creative because both my son and my daughter, they both really liked it. And I thought about that and just the wagons and how you use them when you go apple picking or pumpkin picking. And so that's where this one stemmed from. Okay, so once you glue them down, you'll see you've got your base right there, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our wheels. Now, there's no score lines along the wagon part to adding the wheels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the bottom part of the wagon with the top part here of the spokes. So you can see this one right here. You could do it at the bottom if you really want to, but the wagon handle is pretty thick. And so we want to make sure that we're creating enough room underneath. So I recommend doing it right there along the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue just right along here and then to the spokes here. I'm not going to add it anywhere else because I don't need the glue there. And then I'm just going to make sure I've got the right orientation there. And then I'm just going to line it up right there so it all meets. So you can see it on this end that it's all lining up. Hopefully you can see it. Let me bring it a little closer. So hopefully you can see that it's meeting up right there. And I just kind of went almost right to the edge. I'm maybe like a centimeter or two in. I'm going to do that now for the next wheel. And again, just adding it right to the top part here. And then just making sure I've got the right orientation. And then I'm just going to line it up right at the top. And then just pressing it down to make sure that it stays. Okay, there we go. And so again, you can check it on the other side just to see and make sure that you're correct and it all looks good. So now I'm going to do it again for this one here, the third wheel. And then once more, just again, lining it up. I just want to make sure I don't do it wrong because there's not a lot of glue that's being used here, but you don't want to have it anywhere else. Okay, and then now for the last one. Okay. Oh, I went on that part and I wasn't supposed to. So what I can do is I can use a paper towel. I have it off to the side here and I'm just going to wipe this part off. Sometimes I get a little carried away with my gluing. Okay, and then again, just kind of lining it up right there along the bottom. And there we go. That looks good. And so it's got maybe, I don't even know what I would say that is, maybe 1/2 inch. No, it's got to be more than 1/2 inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/9 of an inch off of the table here. Okay, so that looks fun. Okay, so let's add in the railings. So the railings are going to be our brown pieces here. Let me just shift things again. And so you can see, again, you have the score lines and then the 2 tabs. That's how we're going to connect everything. I'm just going to use my fingers to score this one here. And just, again, pressing it down to make sure that it's good. And then same thing here with the tabs. I'm going to do the same thing for the other one here. Again, just right on those score lines. And then same thing with the tabs once more. And now what we can do is we can take it and just match it up to, again, create kind of that square wagon shape. So I just added a little bit of glue to the tabs there. And I'm holding it in my hands. And I'm going to line them up right there. Okay. And now same thing for the other side, just to kind of seal it off and to create that box. So it's funny, when I made my prototype, I first went with 3 railings here to the wagon, but I thought it was too high. So I switched it back and I made it only 2. because we want to be able to see the pumpkins when we put them in. Okay, so you can see it right there. And then we're going to bring our wagon back over, and what you want to do is just kind of place it in. Check it out and make sure that it fits. And you can see, super cute. All right, so what we're going to do now is the bottom part of the railings here, we're going to add glue to all of these here because these are all going to get glued right along the basket there. So I'm going all the way around. I'm going to do it all at the same time so that way I don't have to fight my way into the container. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue. It doesn't need to be a whole lot either. And then kind of squeezing it together, pressing it down. And pressing it in. And there we go. So you can see it. I went a little bit high here with my glue, but that's okay. And that creates the wagon. Adorable, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put that off to the side, and now let's work on the handle. Okay, so the handle has a lot of pieces, and it's very tricky to make. All right, so let's start with the biggest piece here. So as you can see, there's 2 holes that are missing along for the tabs here, but there's score lines everywhere. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to just begin to fold along those score lines using our bone folder or your ruler. I just went a little too vigorous there. So let me just correct it. So using your bone folder just to get it right there. Okay. And then again, just folding it down, and then the bone folder to get it nice and crisp. And there we go. Okay, and then for the tabs, what you want to do is just get those folded, but we're not going to glue those just yet. So we're going to just fold them down, and then we're going to go ahead though and create the handle part by just sealing this there. And again though, we're not going to fold or glue those tabs just yet. All right, so I'm adding a little bit of glue to that part, and then I'm just going to press it and fold it right there and glue it. And if you need to, open it up and then just hold it down on the inside so that way the glue has a chance to bond and dry. All right, so you can see it right there. That looks good. And then I'm just going to make sure that these parts here, the tabs, are open because we're going to have to insert the top part of the handle, and then the base of the handle that will connect to the wagon. We'll have to insert that through the holes there. Okay. All right, so let's work on the part that will connect underneath here to the base, okay? Which will be this piece here. And again, as you can see, tons of score lines were added to this one. And what we're going to do is just kind of fold all of these score lines here. We're going to be kind of folding towards us and away from us with this one. And it's a big piece, but it will work. And it will help us to just kind of create that 3D shape. All right, so I'm almost done. I'm just using my hands for this one because even though I could use my score line or my bone folder, using my hands will be sufficient for this one. And again, as you can see, I'm just folding everywhere that there's a score line. All right. Okay, so now I've got one of these bases here. I have 2 identical ones, and oh, I think this part was supposed to have an extra one here. It'll be okay. I I think that the file had it, but I don't know why. Maybe it got cut off, but it'll be okay. Yours should have one of these should have an extra one right here. It's just to add a little bit extra support and to seal it up, but it's okay. Maybe I'll change the file. I think I must have cut something different here. Anyway, all right. That was just me getting lost there in a moment. All right, well, we'll do it this way. Okay, so now we're gonna get our glue and get ready to get your fingers a little sticky here because we're gonna be doing a lot of gluing. Okay, so I'm adding my glue there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it right here along the side. And just kind of give it a second for it to dry. And then this part will go right there like that. It's going to stick out, and then we're going to add the glue on the other side right here. So again, just adding a little bit of glue right there and then pressing it there to seal it. Then this part is now going to fold underneath. Hopefully you guys get a nice close-up of this. I don't know how much closer I can put my hands to the camera though. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue right there. Let me just press it down so it glues. Give it a second to dry because this is one where we really don't want any shifting of the paper at all. We really want it to stay. And then we're going to fold this one in. Let me just get this bottom piece in too. So we're going to fold this one right in right there. And I'm going to pull it back out, add the glue again one more time. And then again, give it a second to dry. And then I'm just going to tilt it a little bit so I can get some more glue right here. You could try and add the glue everywhere and then just glue it in, but I don't recommend that because you'll really get glue everywhere and it could just get off just a little bit. All right, so there's that part. Then we're going to add it again right here to that one there. And so bend the paper as you need to get it underneath. And that takes care of that edge. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add the glue here and to this tab here, because what this tab is going to do is it's going to seal on this side. So I'm going to do both of these at the same time. And this is where your fingers might get a little sticky with the glue because you're doing them both. And then just press it in and hold it. So hopefully you guys can see through my fingers. But there. And so you can see now on the other side. So that's the one side, and this is now the other one here. So you can see the frame is there. And all that we're going to do, I'm going to press this one and just kind of really fold on that score line there because it was kind of curving. And you just press it back in. Okay. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my glue and just kind of come back and add it to all of these tabs right here. Okay. And then I'm going to take the other part of this, the back piece here, I'm going to lay it right on top just to close it up and to seal it. Okay. And then I'm going to put it down here on my table so I can have the weight of the table against the back, kind of like a third hand here, just to kind of help me to make sure everything dries. Okay. Perfect. And so yes, we've got this little flap here and that's what we want. And okay. And so this part is going to get glued kind of underneath here with our wagon. All right, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do this part and we're going to put it there. And now we're going to work on the top part of the handle. Okay, so again, we've got more score lines. So I'm just using my fingers to just fold all of these. We've got another tab here that's similar to this one. We want to just make sure that this stays out and open when we begin to fold this part of the handle. And again, just folding everywhere on those score lines, making sure that they've all got that bend. Okay. All right. And so what we're going to do, so we've got it like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold this part up and we're going to now begin to glue just like this. Okay. So we're going to start here. We've got this tab, add the glue here, and then fold it in right there and give it a moment to dry. So hopefully you can see it. It's folding right there. This is just going to kind of create another box, but it's going to have this hanging tab right here. And now we've got this part here. So we're going to come in again, add the glue right here on this tab, and then fold this one so it meets. And what we've got now, as you can see, is almost like the box like this, and then this tab. We're going to go ahead and fold this part in. So we're going to add glue to this side and then to this tab, and then folding it in right there. Oops, I did it on the wrong side. It should be on this side. The glue there. And then just fold it in right there. Okay, so you can see it now. And now we've got these three tabs here. And I'm just going to add the glue right to the edges of these. And then again, we're just going to fold this one in. Hold on. All right. We're going to fold this one in to create another little tiny box. But this box has a little tab. And it's not going to want to stay because I can't offer any pressure on the inside there. So just give it a moment for it to dry and hopefully stick. So just press it in and there we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we have this also white piece. We're going to save this one though for the very end. All right. So I'm going to put this one off to the side, but we're going to save it for the very end. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, remember our long handle part. We had the two edges that don't have a tab. That's what we're looking for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom, which is, this is going to be the piece that connects to the actual wagon. We're going to take this part and we're going to glue it right inside. So now I'm going to add my glue to the back part here. And this one looked like it came up again. And so I'm going to glue it right here. Let me show it to you this way. And then I'm pressing it down on the inside so that way it sticks. Okay. And then we're going to glue it down now like this. Okay. So I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to put this one here. And then I'm just going to add my glue now. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now same thing here with this part. All right. So I'm going to take this tab and I'm going to add it. Well, I'm going to do it this way. So let me explain why. I'm going to make sure that when this folds flat, the width of this box lines up with the width here of this one. So I'm going to add the glue again to there. Then I'm going to place it in on the inside right there. And again, I used my finger just to kind of hold it so that way it seals. And you can see that when I fold this one here, it lines up, okay? It's not shorter. If you do it the other way, you'll find that this won't match, okay? But it should. So now I'm going to take these tabs, and again, I'm just going to fold them. Okay, so that's that one. Folding it here, and then this one. And now what we can do is we can add the glue on top of this one here, and then we'll fold this one right there on top, okay? You do want to make sure, do not glue this part, okay? Because when we glue it onto the handle, if you glue it down, then your handle will stay like this. And we want to be able to have our wagon handle flexible, okay? So I'm going to flip over my wagon now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part. And so see the opening, how it creates that opening? I want it to be this way and not this way, okay? So you want to make sure that it kind of goes down like this. All right. So again, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my glue right on top. I'm going to add a little bit more right here because this one doesn't seem to want to stay. It keeps coming up. So I'm going to add just a little bit more there just to kind of make sure that it's secure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a bunch of glue right here on this part. Whoa, that's not good. And then I'm just pressing it down kind of right in the middle. And then I'm going to flip it back and then kind of just use my hands on this side to make sure that it's really bonding here. Okay, so now our handle can go down. All right, I had a little bit of glue there. Okay. All right, let's work on our pumpkins. Now remember, we still have this white piece. Hang on to it. Don't lose it. It'll help us with our wagon. I'm going to put that up to the side. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and I made one of my pumpkins before the video started, but I'm going to make the other two with you so that way you can see. I've got this one, which is going to be the same size as this one, and then I made a slightly larger one. All right, so what you're going to need as well, I'm sorry, you guys, this video is probably turning out to be really long. What you're going to need as well is like a glue stick here, or you could use a pencil, but you do kind of want to have something that's a little bit thick. And what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of come in and bend the paper, curl it towards yourself. So as you can see, I'm just curling it towards myself. You just want to break up a little bit of the fibers and just kind of naturally add a little bit of a curve to your pumpkin here. And you can see the score lines as well on the circle, as well as on these tabs. So I'm going to do both of these here. Whoops. And so again, I'm just using my glue stick here to curve it. Obviously, it keeps slipping out of my hand. You do want to have something thick, like the glue stick is thick. A pencil will work, but you're not going to end up you're going to have a smaller curve to it, and you kind of want something big. Okay, so I've got that there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing here with my leaves. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and add a little bit of a curve to it. And I'm kind of going in the opposite directions here, but it's okay. So that takes care of that. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm just kind of folding it in a little bit more on itself. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to put these little tabs at the top down. Those also have score lines, so that's why it should be fairly easy. And it's time for our glue gun. So see the little circle? That's where we're going to add our glue, right on top. And we're going to go opposite sides. So I did the one, and then the side right across from it, that's what I did next. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab this one And then make sure too, when you're gluing this, that the circles are right on top of each other. If it's off just a little bit, then you're gonna find that the pumpkin sides will be a little bit off. And so again, just putting it right on top. And then one more. And now the last one here. And there we go. And so when you go and you can press on it, just to kind of make sure you get a little bit more bend to the pumpkin and to the curves here, just to kind of give it a little bit more bend there. Then you can take the whichever sizes that you ended up going with. See the leaves? I'm just going to fold it right there. There's no score lines with this one, but you can go up or you can go down. I'm going to go down for both of those. And then I have this circle part here as well as some glue on me. And then again, I'm just going to add a little bit right there on top. And then just pressing it down right in the center here. Okay. And so again, you could just press it down just to make sure that you're getting that nice bend. We'll do the tops in just a moment. I'm going to do my larger one again. So let me just go through and bend these all at the edges here. Okay. All right. So now we're just going to add the glue right on top. So I only did I did 3, but I thought I would do 2 of them with you. So that way you would see the smaller size and then the larger size. The steps are still all the same, but I just thought it would be helpful for you guys to see how both of them come together. So again, and you do want to make sure too that you're using hot glue for this one, because we want it to make sure that it dries right away. And that it stays too. When we're using our glitter glue, it dries right away, but sometimes you have to hold it there for a little bit longer. And the hot glue gun, it's just much faster. I tried making the pumpkins with the art glitter glue and I got frustrated. I was like, oh, this is taking forever. Okay, so again, we have that one there. And again, just press it down, kind of play with it, you know, and give it a chance to bend there. And then now I'm just going to add the glue to the top so I can add my leaves there. Okay, and that's it for our glue gun. All right, so now we just have to do the, what do they call this part of the pumpkin? The stem. Boy, I have some moments, don't I? You guys must get a kick out of it. Always listening to me. Okay, so these have the score lines as well. And as you can see, I'm just folding it right along here, using my fingers, nothing special. And so I'm just folding it there, and then I'm going to allow it to take its shape here. And so you can kind of see it right there. See how it's just gonna kind of take that shape. And what I'm going to do, I kind of really struggled with this one too, because this one's more just like almost a triangle. I was just gonna do a flat stem, but then I was like, no, it's not 3D. It won't look right. And so there we go. And so you just kind of add it so it forms there. And so this one's going to go with my smaller one right here. So I'm just going to add a little bit right to the bottom and then just stick it right on top. Hopefully this was still in the camera too. So those two are the same size. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this larger one here. So I wouldn't recommend going, these two here were the same size as the size in the file. I wouldn't recommend going much smaller, only because this stem part here might get a little challenging to complete. And so I'm just doing the same thing, just folding here where my score lines are. I'm going to come back in, add my glue right along the edges. And then I'm just going to press it in and allow everything to bond there and dry. So I told you guys that today would be the day that we were going to get glue on our fingers. And I certainly have quite a bit. Okay, and then I'm just adding the glue here at the bottom and then just pressing it down. So I've got 3 pumpkins, and then what I can do is I just take them and I can put them right in my wagon. And so you could add more if you wanted to, or keep the 3 like I did. Okay, so now the handle part. We're almost done, I promise. So we still have this little part here to our handle. And this part now, it can be optional. If you want to leave your handle down like that, that's fine. If you want to leave your handle up at the side of the wagon like that, then all you want to do is just glue it right here, add some glue. If you're like, I like my handle at an angle, so like this, see how mine is kind of like that? If you like it at an angle, that's where this piece is going to come in. So what we're going to do is, again, you can see the score lines here with this one. And all that we're going to do is we're going to, again, just fold right on those score lines, okay? And you can see a tab that's going to connect these, and we're making a triangle right here. All right? So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right here. And I'm just going to connect it to create my triangle. All right, so I'm going to take my pumpkins back out for a moment. And what I'm going to do now is I'm flipping it on its side. And what you want to do is find the 2 sides that are the same. It might be a little difficult, but it's really not. You can see my triangle here like this. These 2 sides are the same, and this one here is my long one. It's going to be the part that had the tab on it, okay? And so the 2 parts that are the same, the 2 sides that are the same, those are going to fit right in here like this, okay? And what this will do, this triangle will do, is it's going to keep our handle out just a little bit, so it's almost like it's floating in the air, but it's not really, because we've got this here to add some support, okay? So I'm going to add my glue right here along this part and along this part. So those 2 sides that were the same. I'm taking my triangle and I'm going to add it right into there to kind of keep my handle open. All right. So just adding it right in there, making sure that everything with the triangle is meeting up with the edges. So what you can see here, this part here, I add a little bit more glue. And then just pressing it there. If you need to, and you can, stick your finger right in there just to kind of help it to seal. This might be another part where if it's not working for you, you could use your hot glue, but just use a little bit. Okay, so you can see how it just kind of meets, and everything right here is just smooth and flush. All right, and so what it does now is you can see it's going to keep this handle open just a little bit. All right, and then you just put your pumpkins back in, and that finishes this craft. I have no idea how long the video is, so if it's crazy long, sorry about that. But just be sure to like the video for me, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you enjoyed crafting this one.